The morning sun rose over New Hyundai, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Hyun stood at his kitchen window watching his daughter Nari play in the garden. She was chasing butterflies again, her laughter carrying through the open door. Behind her, moving slowly through the tall grass, was Bomi the cat. The orange tabby looked half asleep as usual. Hyun smiled and poured himself another cup of coffee. Life on the colony world was peaceful. Sometimes he missed Earth, but this place had become home. 15 years ago, the first settlers had arrived here. They built farms, homes, and a small town center. Now 3,000 people called New Hyundai home. The crops grew well. The weather was gentle. Nothing dangerous lived in the forests. At least that was what everyone believed. Bomi had come with them from Earth 3 years ago, just before Hyun's wife passed away. She had insisted they bring the cat. Nari needs a friend, she had said. Hyun thought it was silly to bring a pet across space, but now he was grateful. The cat stayed close to Nari always. When the girl was sad, Bomi curled up beside her. When she played, the cat watched from nearby. Most days, Bomi seemed lazy. She slept in sunny spots. She ate her food slowly. She yawned more than she moved. But Nari loved her, and that was enough. "Papa," Nari called out. "Look." Bomi caught a bug. Hyun walked to the door. The cat was indeed holding something in her mouth, looking proud. "Very good, Bomi," he called back. "Now let Nari finish playing. I need to work in the barn." The barn was 50 meters from the house. Hyun spent most of his mornings there, repairing equipment and organizing supplies. The afternoon was for field work. It was a simple routine, but it was his. As he walked toward the barn, he noticed something odd. 3 of his chickens were missing. He had counted them last night before locking the coop. 20 birds. This morning, only 17. He checked the fence, no holes. No signs of digging. Strange. He made a mental note to tell Minji about it. She was the colony's security chief. Maybe other farms were losing animals too. Inside the barn, Hyun lost himself in work. He was welding a broken plow when he heard footsteps. His friend Taiho appeared in the doorway, looking concerned. "Morning, Hyun," Taiho said. He was the colony administrator, a man who always wore worry on his face. "Have you lost any livestock?" Hyun set down his torch. 3 chickens. "You?" 2 goats. The Kims lost a pig. All in the past week? Taiho wiped his forehead. "Minji says it's probably wild animals from the forest, but we've never had this problem before." "Maybe they're migrating closer because of the drought," Hyun suggested. The planet had 2 moons, and their alignment this season had made things drier than usual. "Maybe," Taiho said, but he didn't sound convinced. "Minji is increasing patrols around the outer farms, just to be safe." After Taiho left, Hyun returned to his work, but his mind wandered. Something felt wrong. He couldn't explain it. It was like that feeling before a storm when the air gets heavy and still. That afternoon, Hyun walked to the town center to buy supplies. The center was small but had everything colonists needed. A medical clinic run by Dr. Jiwon, a general store, a small security office where Minji worked, a school for the children. Minji was outside her office when Hyun arrived. She was a short woman with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. "Let me guess," she said. "Missing animals?" 3 chickens, Hyun confirmed. She sighed. "You're the 5th person today. I've got sensors at the forest edge, but they're not picking up anything big enough to take a pig. Just small creatures. Normal wildlife, and could something be fooling the sensors? Like what?" Minji crossed her arms. "Everything on this planet is documented. We've been here 15 years. If there was a large predator, we would have seen it by now." Hyun nodded, but the uneasy feeling remained. That evening, Nari refused to eat her vegetables. "Bomi doesn't eat vegetables," she argued. "Bomi is a cat," Hyun said patiently. "You are a human girl. You need vegetables to grow strong." Nari pouted, but eventually ate 3 pieces of carrot. Hyun considered it a victory. After dinner, they sat on the porch together. Nari read a picture book while Bomi lay across her lap. The cat's eyes were half closed, her tail twitching occasionally. The evening was warm and quiet. Stars began appearing in the darkening sky. "Papa, why did we bring Bomi from Earth?" Nari asked suddenly. Hyun thought for a moment. "Your mother wanted you to have a friend. Cats are special. They've lived with humans for thousands of years. Are there other cats here?" "A few. Mrs. Park has one. And the Choys have one at their farm. But not many. Cats are rare out here. Nari hugged Bomi tighter. The cat purred, a sound like a small motor. I'm glad we have her. Me too, Hyun said softly. As night fell, Hyun put Nari to bed. Bomi followed them inside and jumped onto the foot of the bed, circling twice before settling down. Hyun kissed his daughter's forehead and turned off the light. But sleep didn't come easily to him. He lay in his own bed, staring at the ceiling. The missing animals bothered him. Minji was probably right. It was just wildlife. Nothing to worry about. Still, he got up and checked the locks on all the doors. He looked out the window toward the forest. The trees stood dark and silent against the starlit sky. Nothing moved. He was being paranoid. Hyun returned to bed and finally drifted off to sleep. He didn't know that something was watching from those trees. Something that had been watching for weeks. Something that had studied the routines of every family in the colony. Something that had identified the weakest targets. In the darkness of the forest, a creature shifted its weight. Its four legs were perfectly silent on the ground. Its eyes, adapted to see heat, watched the house where Hyun slept. It had already memorized the schedule. The man worked in the barn every morning. The small human child played in the garden, alone, unprotected, except for the small furry creature that stayed near her. The predator dismissed the cat as irrelevant. It was tiny, soft, clearly harmless. The creature's species had traveled the stars for centuries. They raided colonies, studying prey before striking. They had never failed to take what they wanted. Humans were new to this region of space, unknown, untested. This colony would be the test, and tomorrow, the creature decided, would be the day. The child in the garden would be its prize. Proof that humans were weak. Proof that they could be harvested. Like any other prey species, the predator settled down to wait for morning, patient, confident completely, unaware that it had made a terrible mistake in its assessment. It had never encountered Earth before. It had never met a cat. The next morning began like any other. Hyun made breakfast while Nari got dressed. Bomi sat by her food bowl waiting with practiced patience. Outside, the colony was waking up. Farmers headed to their fields. Children walked to school. Everything was normal, except Bomi was acting strange. The cat kept walking to the back door and sniffing. Her ears swiveled forward, then back, then forward again. When Hyun opened the door to let her out, she didn't run into the garden like usual. Instead, she took 2 careful steps outside, then stopped. Her body went rigid, her tail puffed up to twice its normal size. What's wrong with Bomi? Nari asked, coming into the kitchen. I don't know, Hyun said. Maybe she smells something. Bomi finally relaxed and walked into the garden, but she stayed close to the house. She kept looking toward the forest. Hyun watched her for a minute, then shrugged it off. Cats were weird sometimes. After breakfast, Hyun went to work in the barn as usual. Nari was old enough to play in the garden alone for a few hours. The fence was secure. The gate was locked. He could see the garden from the barn door. She would be fine. But as he worked, he kept glancing outside, checking on her, making sure she was okay. Nari was building something with sticks and stones. Bomi lay nearby in a patch of sunlight, but her eyes were open, alert. Her head turned frequently toward the tree line. At the edge of the forest, hidden in shadows, the predator watched. It was called a Vextar in the language of its people. A scout, a hunter. Its body was low to the ground, built for speed and silence. 4 powerful legs, scales that shifted color to match its surroundings, teeth designed to pierce and tear, claws that could cut through most materials. It had been watching this colony for 23 days. It knew the patterns. It knew the weaknesses. These humans had no real defenses. Their security was laughable. Their attention was divided. They were soft prey. The creature had already sent reports back to its ship in orbit. The hierarchy would be pleased. This world was ripe for harvest, but first the test. Take one of their young. See how they respond. If they were weak, the fleet would come. If they fought well, the Vextar would move to easier targets. Either way, the creature would succeed today. It watched the small human child playing. The adult male was in the structure nearby, distracted by his work. Perfect. The only variable was the small, furry creature. The Vextar had observed it for days. It slept constantly. It moved slowly. It showed no signs of aggression, probably some kind of livestock. Harmless. The predator began its approach. It moved with incredible patience, taking one slow step every few minutes. Its color-shifting scales made it nearly invisible against the forest undergrowth. It made no sound, created no disturbance. After 20 minutes, it had covered 30 meters. Only 20 meters remained. In the garden, Bomi's head snapped up. The cat stared directly at the spot where the Vextar was hidden. Her ears flattened against her head. A low sound came from her throat. Not quite a growl. Not quite a hiss. Something ancient and warning. Nari looked up from her stick pile. "What's wrong, Bomi?" The cat stood up, her body tense. She positioned herself between Nari and the forest. Her tail lashed back and forth. The Vextar froze. Could the small creature see it? Impossible. Its camouflage was perfect. Maybe it smelled something, no matter. It was too small to be a threat. The predator waited 5 more minutes, then continued forward. 15 meters now. Close enough to see the heat signatures clearly. The child's body temperature was slightly lower than adult humans. Easier to handle. Good. Bomi's pupils dilated to full black circles. Every muscle in her small body coiled tight. She made that sound again, louder this time. "Bomi, you're being silly," Nari said, reaching for the cat. But Bomi dodged her hand and took 3 steps forward. Toward the forest. Toward the threat. Her claws extended, digging into the soil. The Vextar assessed the situation. The small creature was agitated, but too tiny to matter. The child was distracted, trying to catch it. The adult was still in the barn, unaware. Now was the moment. The predator burst from the tree line at full speed. It covered 15 meters in less than 3 seconds, moving like liquid death. Its jaws opened wide. Its claws extended. It had done this 1,000 times on a dozen worlds. Nari turned at the sound. Her eyes went wide. Her mouth opened to scream, but fear locked her throat. She couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. The Vextar was 5 meters away, then 3. Then Bomi attacked. The cat moved faster than the predator thought possible. One moment she was on the ground. The next she was airborne, launching herself directly at the Vextar's face. The predator tried to dodge, but it was already committed to its charge. Bomi hit like a furry missile, claws first. She landed on the creature's head and immediately went to work. Claws raked across the Vextar's eyes. Teeth sank into the soft tissue behind its jaw. The cat was a blur of orange fur and violence, moving with precision that came from millions of years of evolution. Every strike targeted vulnerable areas: eyes, nose, ears, throat. The Vextar shrieked, a sound like metal tearing. It shook its head violently, trying to dislodge the tiny attacker, but Bomi held on. Her back claws kicked repeatedly at the predator's throat, shredding scales. Pain. The Vextar felt actual pain. This wasn't supposed to happen. The small creature was supposed to be harmless. It rolled, trying to crush Bomi beneath its weight. The cat jumped clear at the last second, landing in a crouch. Her back was arched. Her fur stood completely on end, making her look twice her size. Blood dripped from her claws. Her eyes were wild. The Vextar had fought other predators before. It knew the look of a killer. This tiny creature had that look. They circled each other. The predator was larger, stronger, better armed. But it was bleeding from a dozen wounds. One eye was damaged. Its throat burned where claws had found blood vessels. Nari finally found her voice. She screamed. The sound cut through the morning air like a siren. In the barn, Hyun's head snapped up. He grabbed the first tool he saw, a heavy wrench, and ran toward the garden. The Vextar heard the running footsteps, calculated quickly. The mission was compromised. The small creature had delayed it too long. More humans would come. Retreat was the logical choice, but logic fought with pride. It was a Vextar scout. It didn't flee from prey, especially not from something so small. Bomi hissed again, a sound full of challenge. The predator made its decision. It lunged forward, but this time it was cautious, defensive. It snapped at the cat, trying to grab her with its jaws. Bomi was faster. She dodged left, then right, then jumped straight at the creature's damaged eye. Her claws found the wound and dug deeper. The Vextar screamed again and jerked back. Pain overrode pride. This was wrong.
Everything about this was wrong.
The small creature fought like a creature 10 times its size. It knew where to strike, how to hurt, when to retreat and when to press forward. It fought like Earth itself had trained it. Hyun burst into the garden, wrench raised. He saw his daughter frozen in fear. He saw the alien creature bleeding from multiple wounds. And he saw Bomi, tiny Bomi, standing between them with blood on her claws. Get away from them, Hyun roared. The Vextar looked at the approaching human, then back at the small furry demon that had wounded it. The mission was lost. It turned and ran, moving at full speed back toward the forest. Bomi took 3 steps forward as if to chase, then stopped. Her legs trembled. She swayed once, then collapsed onto her side. Hyun dropped the wrench and ran to Nari, grabbing her, checking for injuries. She was crying but unhurt. Then he looked at Bomi. The cat was breathing hard. Blood matted her fur. She had wounds on her side and back, but her eyes were still alert, still watching the forest where the creature had disappeared. "You brave, stupid cat," Hyun whispered. Hyun scooped up Bomi as gently as he could. The cat made a small sound of pain but didn't struggle. Nari clung to his legs, still crying. He needed to get them inside. Needed to call for help. Needed to understand what had just happened. But first he looked toward the forest. Whatever that thing was, it might come back. Nari, inside. Now, he said firmly. She obeyed without argument, running to the house. Hyun followed, carrying Bomi. He locked the door behind them and set the cat down on the kitchen table. Blood dripped onto the wood. So much blood for such a small creature. "Papa, is Bomi going to die?" Nari's voice was tiny and terrified. "No," Hyun said, trying to sound confident. "She's strong. But I need to call Dr. Jiwon right now. Can you sit with her? Talk to her? Keep her calm?" Nari nodded and climbed onto a chair. She stroked Bomi's head gently. "You're a good cat," she whispered. "You're the best cat. You saved me." Hyun grabbed his communicator and called the clinic. Dr. Jiwon answered on the second ring. "Jiwon, I need you at my house immediately. My cat is injured, and we were attacked by something. Something not from this planet." There was a pause. "Attacked? What do you mean?" "Just come now and bring Minji." He ended the call and looked out the window. The garden was empty. The forest was still, but he could see the tracks now. Deep gouges in the soil where the creature had run. Strange footprints, 4-legged, heavy. His hands were shaking. 15 minutes later, 3 vehicles pulled up to the house. Dr. Jiwon arrived first, carrying her medical bag. Minji came right behind her with 2 security officers. Taeho arrived last, looking pale. They all stopped in the doorway when they saw Bomi on the table. "What happened to her?" Jiwon asked, moving forward immediately. She began examining the cat with careful hands. "She fought something," Hyun said. "Something that tried to take Nari." "Show me," Minji said. Hyun led her to the garden. The tracks were clear in the daylight. Minji knelt beside them, her face serious. She took photos with her communicator, measured the prints, examined the blood on the grass. "This isn't any animal we've documented," she said quietly. "These tracks are fresh, less than 30 minutes old." She stood up and looked at the forest. "We need to search the perimeter now." Back inside, Dr. Jiwon was working on Bomi. The cat lay still, breathing fast. Nari watched with wide eyes. "She has multiple lacerations," Jiwon said. "Deep ones. She's lost blood. But nothing vital was hit. She's going to make it." She looked at Hyun with amazement. "What did she fight?" "I don't know," Hyun said. "It was big, fast, had scales and 4 legs. Looked like a reptile but moved like a mammal. Taeho went very pale." "Scales, 4 legs?" He pulled out his communicator and started typing rapidly. "How big?" "Maybe 2 meters long. Maybe more. It happened so fast, Taeho found what he was looking for." He turned the screen toward Hyun. "Did it look like this?" The image showed a creature almost exactly like what Hyun had seen. Sleek, predatory, dangerous. "Yes. What is it?" "It's called a Vextar," Taeho said, his voice shaking. "They're raiders. Space pirates. They scout colonies before attacking. If one is here..." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Minji appeared in the doorway. "I found more tracks. A path leading into the forest. Whatever it was, it's been coming and going for days, maybe weeks." The room went silent. "It was studying us," Hyun said slowly. "The missing animals. It was testing our defenses. And it chose Nari," Taeho added. "Children are easier targets. If it had succeeded..." He looked at Bomi, lying on the table with bandages covering her small body. A house cat stopped a Vextar scout. Jiwon finished wrapping Bomi's wounds. "She needs rest and antibiotics. I'll stay here today to monitor her. But she's stable." Bomi's eyes opened slightly. She looked at Nari and made a small sound. Nari reached out and touched the cat's paw gently. "Thank you, Bomi." she whispered. Minji was on her communicator talking rapidly. I'm calling for military support. If there's one Vextar, there might be more. And if they're preparing to raid us, she looked at everyone in the room. We need help. Over the next few hours, the house filled with people. More security officers came to examine the scene. Scientists arrived to collect samples of the alien blood Bomi had drawn. Officials came to document everything. But the focus kept returning to the cat. She had fought something 4 times her size. Something designed to hunt and kill. She had wounded it badly enough to make it retreat. A creature that, according to all records, had never retreated from prey before. One of the scientists, a woman named Dr. Soman, studied Bomi with fascination. May I? She asked, gesturing to the cat. Hyun nodded. Soman examined Bomi carefully, checking her bone structure, her muscle density, her claw formation. Remarkable, she kept saying. Absolutely remarkable. What is? Hyun asked. Earth cats are perfect predators, Soman explained. Humans think of them as pets, but they're actually apex hunters. Fast reflexes, excellent night vision, retractable claws, powerful back legs for jumping. They can see in almost total darkness. Their whiskers detect air movement. Their hearing picks up frequencies we can't even imagine. She pointed to Bomi's claws. These are like surgical instruments, curved, sharp, designed to grip and tear. And her teeth? Perfect for biting through spinal cords. But she's so small, Taiho said. Size isn't everything, Somin replied. Earth cats evolved alongside humans for thousands of years. But before that, they evolved to hunt. They're ambush predators, patient, strategic. They strike fast and target weak points. The Vextar has probably never encountered anything like her. She stood up. Think about it. The Vextar evolved on a world with large, slow prey. It's used to chasing things down and overpowering them. But Bomi fights like a creature from Earth. She's unpredictable, fast, vicious when threatened. The Vextar wouldn't know how to respond. Hyun looked at his cat, sleeping peacefully now despite her injuries. He thought about all the times she had lounged in the sun, seeming lazy and harmless. He had never imagined she could do what she did. That evening, Captain Junho arrived from the main settlement. He was a military officer, tall and serious. He listened to everyone's reports and watched the footage from Minji's body camera when she had arrived at the scene. We need to send a message to the fleet, he said finally. The Vextar ship is probably still in orbit watching. They need to know their scout failed. Will they attack? Hyun asked. Maybe, maybe not. But they need to understand that we're not easy prey. Junho looked at Bomi. And we have a very interesting story to tell them. That night, Hyun sat beside Nari's bed. Bomi was there too, curled up on the blanket despite her wounds. She had refused to stay anywhere else. Is Bomi a hero? Nari asked sleepily. Yes, Hyun said. She's a hero. Will the monster come back? No, I don't think so. I think Bomi taught it a lesson. Nari smiled and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep. Hyun stayed there, watching both of them. His daughter. His cat, his family. The cat had saved them both. A small, ordinary house cat from Earth had done what all the colony's defenses couldn't do. She had made a predator flee. In orbit above the planet, on a ship hidden from scanners, the Vextar scout reported to its commanders. The report was different from what they expected. The scout was injured. The mission had failed. The prey had fought back, not the adult humans. A small creature. The commander demanded clarification. The scout sent video footage from its optical implants. The commanders watched in silence as a tiny furry creature attacked with shocking ferocity. They watched it wound their scout. They watched it force a retreat. The meeting that followed lasted hours. What kind of world produced creatures like this? What kind of species kept such fierce predators as companions? If this was their pet, what were their weapons like? The Vextar were predators. They understood strength. They respected danger. And this small creature from Earth had shown them something they didn't expect. Perhaps humans were not prey after all. Perhaps they were something else entirely. 3 days passed. Bomi was recovering well, though she moved carefully and slept more than usual. Dr. Jiwon visited twice daily to check her wounds and change her bandages. The cat accepted the treatment with patient dignity, as if she understood it was necessary. Nari refused to leave Bomi's side. She read to the cat, brought her favorite toys, and shared her meals. Hyun had to carry his daughter to bed each night, where Bomi would immediately join her. But while life in the house found a new rhythm, the colony was transforming. Military personnel arrived by transport ship. Captain Junho had called for reinforcements, and the response was immediate. Within 48 hours, 50 soldiers set up a perimeter around New Hyundai. Defensive weapons were installed. Patrol routes were established. The colony had gone from peaceful farming community to fortified position. More concerning was what the scientists found. Dr. Soman had been studying the blood samples Bomi had drawn from the Vextar. She worked around the clock in her temporary lab, set up in the town center. On the third day, she called an emergency meeting. Hyun attended, along with Minji, Taiho, Captain Junho, and several other officials. They gathered in the meeting hall, which had never seen so many people. Soman looked exhausted but excited. "I've analyzed the Vextar biology," she began, "and I need you all to understand what happened in that garden." She pulled up images on the large screen. "This is the Vextar homeworld based on our databases. It's a heavy-gravity planet with large, slow-moving herbivores. The Vextar evolved to hunt these creatures through persistence and power. They're strong, durable, and patient." She switched to another image. "But they never evolved alongside ambush predators. Their world doesn't have creatures like Earth cats. No small, fast hunters. No animals that strike from hiding and target weak points." "What does that mean?" Taiho asked. "It means," Soman said, "that the Vextar had no biological preparation for what Bomi did. Look at these hormone readings from the blood sample." She highlighted several markers on the screen. "This is a fear response. Extreme stress. Panic, even. The Vextar scout experienced genuine terror during that fight." The room went quiet. "Are you saying," Captain Junho spoke slowly, "that a house cat scared an alien raider?" "Not just scared," Soman corrected. "Traumatized. According to Vextar biology studies, their species has a very different concept of predator and prey. They're always the predator, always in control. They've raided dozens of species across multiple systems. They've never failed." She pulled up more data. But Bomi did something they couldn't process. She was smaller than their smallest recorded predator. She should have been harmless. Instead, she attacked with speed and precision they couldn't counter. She targeted areas they didn't know were vulnerable. She fought like nothing in their evolutionary history. "She fought like Earth," Minji said quietly. "Exactly." Soman agreed. Earth is a death world by galactic standards. High gravity. Extreme weather. Countless predators at every level. Everything that survives there is either very tough or very clever. Usually both. Humans domesticated cats thousands of years ago. But we didn't change what they are. We just convinced them we're worth keeping around. She smiled. "Cats are still hunters. Perfect little killing machines. We feed them so they don't need to hunt for food. But the instinct is there. The skill is there. And when Bomi saw Nari in danger, all that predatory evolution activated." Hyun thought about all the times Bomi had brought dead mice to the door. He had thought she was being sweet, bringing gifts. Now he understood. She was showing her kills. Displaying her competence. "There's more," Salman continued. "I've been reviewing Vextar raid patterns. They always send scouts first. The scouts observe, identify weak points, and report back. If the prey is vulnerable, the fleet attacks. If the prey is strong, they move to easier targets. And their scout just learned we're not vulnerable," Captain Junho finished. "Worse than that," Salman said. "Their scout learned that what we consider a pet is dangerous. Think about what that implies." The room fell silent again as everyone processed this. Taiho spoke first. "If our pets are dangerous, what are our weapons? If our children's companions can wound their scouts, what can our soldiers do?" "Exactly what they'll be thinking," Soman confirmed. Over the next week, more information came to light. Long-range sensors detected the Vextar ship in orbit. It had been there for at least a month, watching, waiting. But now it was moving to a higher orbit. Not leaving, but becoming more cautious. Admiral Yunji arrived from the defense fleet. She was a stern woman in her 50s with gray hair and sharp eyes. She met with all the witnesses, reviewed all the data, and watched the security footage a dozen times. Finally, she called Hyun to a private meeting. "I need to see the cat," she said. Hyun brought her to the house. Bomi was in the garden, moving slowly but steadily. Her wounds were healing well. She was even playing with Nari a little, though not as energetically as before. Admiral Yunji watched them for a long time. "I've read the reports," she said finally, "but I needed to see her myself. She's just a regular cat, isn't she?" "Yes," Hyun said. Nothing special. We brought her from Earth because my daughter needed a friend. Nothing special, Yunji repeated, smiling slightly. A regular Earth cat stops an alien raider and traumatizes it so badly it retreats. A creature designed for hunting across multiple worlds meets a house pet and loses. She turned to Hyun. Do you know what this means for humanity's position in this sector? Hyun shook his head. It means the Vextar will think twice before approaching any human colony. It means other species will hear this story and wonder what else humans are capable of. It means your cat just changed the balance of power. She was just protecting Nari, Hyun said. I know, Yunji replied. That makes it even better. She wasn't a trained guard animal. She wasn't a weapon. She was a pet protecting her family. That's what Earth creates. Creatures so capable that even their companions are formidable. She paused. I want to send a message to the Vextar ship. I want to tell them what happened here. I want them to understand exactly what they're dealing with. Will that make them attack? No, Yunji said confidently. It will make them leave. The Vextar are predators, but they're not stupid. They don't fight battles they can't win, and right now they're trying to figure out if they can win against humanity. That evening, Admiral Yunji composed her message. She included the security footage, the medical reports, the analysis of Bomi's fighting technique, and a simple explanation. This creature is called a cat. Humans keep them as companions. They are common on Earth. They live in our homes, play with our children, and sleep on our furniture. They are not weapons. They are not guard animals. They are pets. She added footage of other Earth animals: tigers, wolves, bears, sharks, eagles. These are some of Earth's other creatures. Some humans keep smaller versions of these as pets too. Dogs descended from wolves. Some humans keep snakes. Some keep spiders. We share our world with all of them. Then she included footage of human cities, schools, parks, families. We evolved alongside these creatures. We learned to coexist with predators that could kill us. We learned to respect nature's power while building our civilization. And sometimes we made friends with the predators. The final part of the message was simple. Your scout tried to take a human child. A house cat stopped it. This is what our children's pets can do. Consider carefully what our soldiers can do. Consider carefully what humanity is capable of. We hope you choose peace, but we are prepared for either choice. The message was sent, and in orbit the Vextar commanders received it. They watched in their war rooms. They analyzed every frame. They discussed and debated, and slowly they began to understand. Earth was different. Humanity was different. This was not prey. This was something else entirely, something that kept apex predators as pets. 2 weeks after the attack, everything changed. The Vextar ship left orbit. Long-range sensors tracked it as it jumped to hyperspace, heading away from human territory. No explanation. No communication. It simply left. But the story didn't end there. Admiral Yunji's message spread through human colonies like wildfire. Every settlement wanted to know about the cat that fought an alien raider. News services picked it up. Scientists discussed it. Military strategists analyzed it. Within days, everyone in human space knew about Bomi. Hyun found this overwhelming. His communicator buzzed constantly with interview requests. News crews wanted to visit. Officials wanted to document everything. He refused most of them. Bomi wasn't a show animal. She was family. But he did agree to one interview with a small colony news service. They came to the house on a quiet morning. The reporter was a young man named Doyun, who promised to be respectful. How does it feel? Doyun asked, knowing your cat is famous. Hyun looked at Bomi, who was sleeping in a sunny spot on the porch. She doesn't know she's famous. She's just being a cat. She protected Nari because that's what she does. That's what cats do. But she fought something much larger than herself. Yes, but cats don't think about size. They think about territory, about family. Nari is her family. The garden is her territory. Something threatened both. So she fought. Doyen nodded, making notes. Do you think other cats would do the same? I think, Hyun said carefully, that people forget what cats are. We see them sleeping and playing and we think they're soft. But they're not. They're predators. We just gave them a comfortable home. The interview was short and honest. When it aired, people responded positively. They liked that Hyun didn't make Bomi into something she wasn't. She was just a cat, a regular Earth cat, and that was enough. Meanwhile, in military circles, discussions continued. Captain Junho became involved in planning sessions about colony defense. The Vextar weren't the only raiders in this sector. Other species needed to understand that humans were prepared. We need to change how we present ourselves, Junho argued at one meeting. We've been acting like prey, building colonies without proper defenses, assuming the galaxy is safe. But it's not. We're surrounded by predators. So what do you suggest? Another officer asked. We show them what Earth is, Junho replied. We show them that we're not prey. We're competitors, maybe even apex predators ourselves. This led to a broader initiative. Human colonies began sharing information about Earth. Educational programs were created. Diplomatic packages were sent to alien governments. The message was consistent. Earth is a harsh world that produces tough species. Humanity survived by being adaptable, intelligent, and willing to face danger, and the creatures we keep as pets reflect that reality. Dr. Soman became part of this effort. She traveled to other colonies, giving presentations about Earth biology. She showed footage of cats hunting, dogs protecting their families, horses carrying humans into battle. These aren't accidents, she explained at one presentation. Humans specifically chose to befriend the most capable species. We wanted companions who were strong, loyal, and competent. We formed partnerships with predators because we respected their abilities. She pulled up an image of a wolf. 30,000 years ago, humans convinced wolves to join us. We hunted together, lived together. Eventually, wolves became dogs. But we didn't make them weak. We kept the traits we valued: loyalty, courage, protective instincts. Then she showed Bomi's fight again. This is the result. A small cat that most species would consider harmless, but she carries millions of years of predatory evolution. She has the reflexes, the instincts, and the courage to face something 4 times her size. The presentation was distributed widely. Other species began to take notice. The Vextar incident became famous beyond human space. Traders talked about it. Diplomats referenced it. It became a story that spread across multiple systems, and slowly humanity's reputation changed. They were no longer seen as soft newcomers. They were seen as something more complex, potentially dangerous, definitely worth respecting. 6 months after the attack, Hyun received an unexpected visitor, a representative from the Galactic Council, the loose organization that governed relations between species. His name was difficult to pronounce, so he offered to be called Kato. He was a tall, insect-like being with multiple arms and compound eyes. I came to see the famous cat, Kato said, his translator rendering his clicks and chirps into clear language. Hyun led him to the garden where Bomi was watching Nari play. The cat looked up at the alien visitor with mild interest, then returned to watching the girl. She seems very ordinary, Kato observed. She is, Hyun confirmed. Yet she defeated a Vextar scout. She protected her family. Kato was silent for a moment. We have been studying Earth, he finally said. Your world is remarkable. So many apex predators, so much danger. How did your species survive? We adapted, Hyun said. We learned. We made tools and friends. We survived because we had to. And now you bring that survival instinct to the stars. I suppose we do. Kato watched Bomi for a long time. The Vextar have withdrawn from 3 systems they were planning to raid. All human settlements. They sent a message to the council. They said humans are too unpredictable, too dangerous because of Bomi, because of what Bomi represents. If your pets are this capable, what are you capable of? That's what everyone is asking now. Hyun smiled slightly. We're capable of being good neighbors. We're capable of peace, but we're also capable of protecting what's ours. That, Kato said, is precisely what the galaxy needed to hear. After Kato left, Hyun sat on the porch with Nari and Bomi. The cat had fully recovered now. Her fur had grown back over her scars. She moved with her old grace and spent her days doing cat things, sleeping, eating, playing, watching birds. But sometimes, Hyun caught her looking at the forest, alert, aware, ready. Papa, Nari said, hugging Bomi. Is Bomi still a hero? She was always a hero, Hyun replied. We just didn't know it. That night, as stars filled the sky above New Hyundai, Hyun thought about how much had changed. The colony was safer now. Other species were more cautious around humans. The galaxy saw them differently, all because a cat protected her family. He thought about Earth so far away. That world of extreme weather and dangerous creatures, that world that had forged humanity into what it was. They had brought a piece of that world with them. In Bomi, in their other animals, in themselves. And the galaxy was learning what that meant. Somewhere in deep space in a Vextar command ship, military leaders made plans. They marked human territory as restricted. They warned their scouts to avoid human colonies. They added humans to the list of species that were too dangerous to hunt, not because of human weapons, not because of human technology, but because of what humans were, survivors from a death world, partners with predators, a species that kept dangerous creatures as family. The Vextar had learned an important lesson. They had tested humanity by threatening a child, and they had learned that even humanity's smallest companions would fight back, ferociously, effectively, without hesitation. If the pets were this dangerous, what were the people like? It was a question they decided they didn't need answered. In the galaxy, word continued to spread. Stories traveled from species to species, tales of the small Earth creature that defeated a Vextar scout, discussions about what else Earth might have produced, curiosity about what humans were truly capable of, and through it all one thing became clear. Humanity had arrived in the galaxy, not as prey, not as victims, but as something else entirely. They were the species from Earth, the world that had tried to kill them for millions of years and failed. The world that had made them tough, adaptable, and unbreakable. The world that had taught them to befriend predators and face danger without flinching. They were humanity. And they were here to stay. Back in the garden on New Hyundai, Bomi stretched in the sunlight and yawned. She had no idea she was famous. No idea that her fight had changed anything. She only knew that Nari was safe. The territory was secure. Life was good. She curled up in her favorite spot and closed her eyes. Just a cat. Just a regular Earth cat. Doing what Earth cats had always done. Surviving, protecting, thriving. And if something threatened her family again, she would fight again. Without hesitation, without fear. Because that was what millions of years of evolution had prepared her for. That was what it meant to be from Earth. Hyun watched his daughter play and his cat sleep, and he smiled. They had come to the stars seeking a new home. They had found it, and they had shown the galaxy something important. Earth doesn't breed prey. It never has. Every creature from that world, from the smallest cat to the largest human, carries the same message. We survived. We adapted. We made friends with danger, and we are not afraid. The Vextar learned this lesson the hard way. Other species were learning it now. And in time, the whole galaxy would understand. Humanity had arrived, and they brought their cats with them. The end.